Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we are looking at some new releases for Games Workshop that are for pre-order today for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. So first of all, massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending these to us to have a look at a little bit early and share with you guys. We have got the Fall of the Necromancer expansion for the Middle-earth strategy battle game, the awesome looking Dol Guldor scenery to go with it, and the Witch King of Angmar himself. So yeah, the Middle-earth strategy battle game has been getting quite a lot of love from Games Workshop. Since the Pelennor Fields box came out, we've had a whole host of books and miniatures and plastic scenery kits and plastic heroes. And yeah, I know a lot of the Middle-earth community will agree. It's getting a lot of love compared to maybe some of those years where it was very light on releases and things looked a bit up in the air. We're definitely back on form with a load of releases. So yeah, we're going to have a look at these, look at all the scenarios in the book, the various legendary legions and stuff in there, and we'll check out these miniatures as well and see how they shape up. But first of all, let's have a look at the Fall of the Necromancer book. So Fall of the Necromancer is a Hobbit era narrative expansion. If you've seen the Journey of the Ringbearer or the Rohan expansion, you have the idea here. We get a series of scenarios that can be linked together through a campaign so you can play out the events of the book. And then generally they have some various army lists in the back of it, plus some legendary legions, which are kind of special bespoke army lists that have got some restrictions but give you a really cool force to represent the various factions out of that encounter from the film or book. So yeah, really nice thing. Obviously this one covers the Fall of the Necromancer, so this is the reveal that Sauron has returned in some form to the ruins of Dol Guldor under the guise of the Necromancer, as we see in the Hobbit books. So yeah, let's open this up and have a look what we get inside. Now as ever, these Middle-earth books are absolutely gorgeous. Obviously we've got the advantage of them having the the movie licensing, so we've got lots of images from the films, a lot of the stylings and stuff. So yeah, very nice to see. So we start off with the history of the Necromancer, setting the scene of the defeat of Sauron and his slow return and his corruption of Mechwood, which is really cool. So we go through the scenarios, and we get a lot of different scenarios here. Now, this isn't match players such as is very narrative, so you'll get suggested forces, so you know the armies, the various characters and heroes that would take part in that historically from a kind of narrative point of view. And of course you are open to use different factions and forces if you don't have them, but the really cool thing with these books is you don't really need a massive amount of space or miniatures to play through these, and with a gaming group you could, pull together your miniatures and get together. So we start with the founding of Dol Guldor. We then have the Gathering Evil. So yeah, representing the Necromancer gathering his forces with some Mechwood scouts, kind of scouting out and seeing what's going on. We then get the Corruption of the Greenwood. So nice one with lots of creepy crawlies, the Castellans of Gore, bats and spiders and fell wargs, with the various Mechwood rangers taking them out. Lurking in the Shadows. So again, lots of spiders and bats and the like, taking on more Mechwood rangers and captains. So already you can see, with a couple of boxes of Mechwood elves, plus a selection of various spiders and bats and wargs and the like, you can put together these forces quite easily. So now we get a cool cinematic one, Flight to the East, with Gandalf taking on the Necromancer and the Castellans of Dol Guldor. And again, with the new scenery, you'll be able to represent this. Really cool. So the Watchful Peace, we've got Legolas and some elves taking on some orcs in the Forest of Mechwood. Now, I guess to play these to full effect, you are going to need a lot of forest-related scenery because it is set in Mechwood. But the new Citadel Woods are pretty good, and you know, with Middle-earth you can get away with kind of hobby train set woods as well, which are fun. So clearing the nest, we've got the elves trying to clear out the corruption in Dol Guldor, so all the various spiders and creatures and nasty things that have turned up. Speaking of the corrupted spiders and stuff, we get to the part in the Hobbit films where Radagast begins to think that there is something going on here. So him against the spiders, And meanwhile, he goes and explores Dol Guldor to try and find out what is happening. He encounters the Witch King of Angmar and obviously realises that something's gone wrong and wants to let Gandalf know that potentially something has returned that isn't quite as it seems. So Gandalf goes on. We see Thrain the Broken, who is, if I remember rightly, he's gone quite mad and he's hanging out in the ruins as a prisoner. Gandalf will come and save him and yeah, find out what's going on. Ace. So nice little note on here that this one was actually created by Damien O'Brien and Tim Harrison when the Hobbit came out. That's really cool. We've got a fan-created scenario. Damien O'Brien on the Great British Hobbit League quite a lot. So capture of the Grey Wizard. We see Gandalf facing off against the Necromancer and it all going horrifically wrong. Chances are Gandalf's probably not going to win this one, but you never know. And obviously Radagast coming, saving the day on his sled. I really need to get that model. I'm not sure if it's still available. But yeah, really, really cool. And then the fall of the Necromancer, we see the White Council taking on the Nazgul, the Necromancer and the Keeper of the Dungeons in a big kind of cinematic showdown. Yeah, really, really fun. So it's the kind of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily do with normal kind of match play games, being able to play through those narrative beats and those cool elements from the films. And you know, if you got together with your kind of gaming group and got all the miniatures together, you could play through the whole campaign. Now what the book does offer here is a kind of structuring way of recording what happens, depending on who wins, who loses, what happens. That will change the effects of the campaign. So again, this is something we've seen in other Middle-earth books. It's nothing new here, but it does add a bit of excitement. You know, will things play out like they do in the films? Or do maybe in your game, things go a bit differently? We see a different turn of events. So yeah, really, really fun to see. So then we get onto the armies. So this is split into two sections. We've got the kind of army lists representing the forces that are in the various encounters that we see here. And then we get some legendary legions, which we'll look at in a little bit. So starting off with the White Council, this represents obviously Saruman's Council of White that takes on the Necromancer in the events. So this can actually include Saruman, Galadriel, Elrond, Gandalf, Radagast, Glorfindel, and Celeborn. So yeah, you've got some. I don't remember Glorfindel and Celeborn obviously weren't in the film, but I guess they were part of the council in the book. So it's cool that you can include them. And it's a bit of a funky warband. Essentially, Saruman counts as the kind of leader, and then the rest of the heroes can be part of his warband, which is pretty fun. They get an army bonus for being in this, that they get a +1 to attempt to resist magic, as long as there's another member of the council within 6 inches. So this is a really fun one to do if you want to go kind of a hero-heavy list. Obviously all the wizards is a quite fun one to do, so that's ace. We then have Radagast's Alliance that I absolutely want to play. So you've got Bjorn, you've got Radagast, Gwaihir and the Great Eagles. And then as part of this, you get the Eagles of Coming rule, which gives the Eagles a +1 strength value bonus when they charge. So really, really cool. Really fun list. I quite like that. Next up, we've got the Halls of Thranduil. So this is your Mirkwood Elves, I guess, army list. So you've got Thranduil, King of the Woodland Realm, Legolas, Tauriel, Palace Guard Captains, Mirkwood Captains, Mirkwood Ranger Captains, and then Palace Guard, Mirkwood Elves, Mirkwood Cavalry, Mirkwood Rangers, and Wood Elf Sentinels. So they get a army bonus. The Elves of Mirkwood are not like their kin. They are less wise and more dangerous. Mirkwood Rangers from the Force do not count towards the army's bow limit. Additionally, while they're within 3 inches of Thranduil, Palace Guard Captains, Palace Guard, Mirkwood Cavalry and Mirkwood Elves gain a +1 to their wound rolls when making strikes, which is amazingly good. Obviously you're going to have to keep clumped around your leader there, but that's a really ace bonus on your elf, so really cool list. We then have the Dark Powers of Dol Guldor. So this is essentially the bad guys, isn't it, from the storyline. You get the Necromancer and all 9 of the Nazgul, the Keeper of the Dungeons, Castellans of Dol Guldor, Hunter Orc Captains, Gundabad Orc Captains, Hunter Orcs, Gundabad Orcs, Fell Wargs and Mirkwood Spiders. So yeah, all your creepy, kooky, mysterious and ooky forces from the Ruins of Dol Guldor. The army bonus for this is the spirit has lost none of its potency. Whenever the Necromancer of Dol Guldor attempts to cast a magical power, by expanding one or more will points, he automatically adds an extra will point to the casting test. That's pretty cool. So obviously represents Sauron's power returning and his magical prowess. So yeah, that's pretty nice. If you prefer your creatures and creepy crawlies though, you can have the Dark Denizens of Mechwood. So this is all your spiders. So Spider Queen, Mechwood spiders, giant spiders, bat swarms and fellwargs. Again, quite a nice different force to put together. They get the army bonus, the Beasts of Mechwood. As long as your army includes the Spider Queen, warbands comprised entirely of warg models do not need a hero to lead them if they number 6 or more models. Warbands composed entirely of spider models do not need a hero if they have 2 or more models. And warbands comprised of a mixture of models do not need a hero to lead them if they number 10 or more models. Instead, one warrior within the warband takes on the role of the captain. So essentially that lets you take the Spider Queen and then loads of different kind of regiments of various monsters that you can have there without having to have the requirement of a hero. So yeah, pretty fun. Again, I quite like that. If you're playing through the scenarios in the book, you're going to need a lot of these anyway, so nice to have the option to field them as like a legal army. So then we come to the legendary legions in the book. Now, these are a little bit different, so they've got quite a few restrictions in how the list is built, but they do give you some cool bonuses. They're very thematic, they fit the kind of forces that you'd see represented within the story. So let's have a look at these. So we start off with the Rangers of Mechwood, which you know Sprues and Brews member Jay is absolutely loving elves and wizards and all that kind of stuff. I think he's going to be tempted to do quite a few of these forces from this book. So the Rangers of Mechwood is essentially a more specialised version of the elf list that we saw earlier. So you can have Legolas with his elven cloak, Tauriel, Mechwood Ranger Captains, Mechwood Rangers and Wood Elf Sentinels. It must contain Legolas or Tauriel, and it can have 100% of its models armed with bows, which is fun. So Knife Mastery, friendly models may reroll 1s to wound when making strikes. Additionally, friendly models may use the shielding special rule even though they're not armed with a shield. That's pretty cool. However, for the Elector Shield, they may not use their Knife Fighters or Blade Mistress special rules. Legolas gains the Knife Fighter special rule when part of the Legion, and then Clear the Nest, the whole force gets Hatred Spiders. Again, fits if you're going for what you've seen earlier, the scenarios where the elves are hunting out to kill the spiders. Masters of the Forest, whenever they're within an inch of a tree or within a piece of woodland terrain, suffers a wound, roll a d6, on a 6 it's ignored. So basically, if they're within terrain or near terrain, they can ignore wounds on a 6, which is really, really good. And then Silent Ambush, in scenarios where you roll for additional forces to arrive, you receive a bonus +1 to the dice roll when warbands from the Legendary Legion. In scenarios where you see which part of the board your force deploys in, you can modify it by +1 or -1. So basically to represent that they're quite sneaky and stealthy and able to do covert stuff, you do get those bonuses to your either kind of reinforcement rolls or seeing where they turn up. So yeah, really, really nice force, nice selection of models in this one. So next we have the Vanquished of the Necromancer. This is essentially the White Council list that we saw earlier, but again with some restrictions to make it represent what we see in the films. So you've got Saruman, Galadriel, Gandalf, Elrond and Radagast. And Radagast can take his rabbit-pawned sleigh if he wants to. It must contain Galadriel, Saruman, and Saruman's always the army leader. It's always deployed as a single warband with Saruman as the warband's captain. So again, we see the same kind of rule before, where normally you couldn't have a warband of heroes. This is a bit of an exception where Saruman is the leader and they're the rest of his warband. So again, we see the Are You Needed in Assistance rule where they get +1 to resist tests. Friendly models can attempt to cast magical powers even if they're already engaged in combat. Meddle not in the affairs of a wizard. The attacks characteristic of wizard models in the Legion is equal to their remaining wounds. That's pretty cool. Lady of the Golden Wood, Galadriel can target any enemy model with a banishment magical power as if it were a spirit model. Non-spirit models targeted by the banishment gain a single free point of will to immediately resist. So basically you can use that against anyone, even non-spirits, but if it is a non-spirit they basically get to resist it for free as if they'd been to put will point. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The Grey Wanderer, Gandalf gains the Fearless special rule. Furthermore, friendly models within 3 inches of Gandalf cannot have their courage value reduced by enemy magical powers or special rules. The Lord of Emeraldus, Elrond may declare a heroic strike every fight phase without expanding might. Additionally, other friendly models within 3 inches count as being in range of a banner. That's really cool. Wisest of the Astari, Saruman can attempt to cast 2 magical powers each turn rather than 1, but he may not attempt to cast the same magical power twice or target the same model twice. Additionally, when other friendly models within 3 inches attempt to cast a magical power, they can re-roll a single d6. And then Protector of the Greenwood, once per turn, at any point in his move phase, Radagast can choose a single model in base contact and roll a d6, or a 4 or 5, the chosen model regains a wound lost earlier, and on a 6, the model regains all its lost wounds. That's really cool. So he can act like as a healer for your warband. Friendly models within 3 inches of Radagast can move through difficult terrain without penalty. So yeah, lots of bonuses for taking all these guys together in the Legendary Legion. Obviously you can't take allies or anything, so this is your warband, but it's a pretty cool one. And then go back to the Void from whence you came. Once per game, if Galadriel has at least 1 will point remaining, she can choose to exert her full power instead of casting a magical power. If she does so, then she immediately casts the channeled version of the banishment magical power, which cannot be resisted. Models may use Fate to prevent the wounds as normal, however, immediately after casting the banishment magical power, place Galadriel Prime and reduce her will to 0. Additionally, for the rest of the battle, she does not benefit from her Lady of Lothlorien and War Aspect special rules. So basically she can exert her full power to do a really powerful version of banishment that can't be resisted, but then obviously she's going to go prone and lose those special rules. So yeah, really, really cool list. I like that. It's really fun. I don't know if these models are still available. I know they were available back when the Hobbit was first out. I hope they are available or up for a made to order at some point, because there's lots of cool models here that I'd want to get to add to the force. So then we've got the Pits of Dol Guldor, representing the various orcs that are kind of living within the ruins. So we've got Azog, who can go on his warg, the Keeper of the Dungeons, Gundabad Orc Captains, Hunter Orc Captains, and Thrain the Broken. And then they can take Gundabad Orc Warriors, Hunter Orcs, and Fell Wargs. It must include Azog, who is always the army leader. And again, they get some special bonuses. So Surprise Attack, once per game before priority is determined. As long as he's alive and on the battlefield, Azog can declare that he's using this ability. If he does, do not roll for priority. Instead, Azog's controlling player will automatically win the priority roll. Additionally, enemy models may not declare heroic moves in the following move phase. That's a really cool ability. You know, that can make a difference between a win and a loss in some situations where you get that all-important priority and they can't make heroic movements. Yeah, really like that. Magical Void, friendly models gain the resistance to magic special rule. And Fury of the Pale Orc, Azog may declare a heroic combat each turn without spending might. So yeah, really cool force if you want to go for that kind of Hobbit era orc army. And then finally we have the Rise of the Necromancer. This again is essentially like the list that we saw earlier, but formed as a Legendary Legion. You take the Necromancer of Dol Guldor, you take all 9 of the Nazgul, the Keeper of the Dungeons, and the Castellan of Dol Guldor. The Necromancer has to be the leader, he has to be included in the force, and it's always deployed as a single warband with the Necromancer of Dol Guldor as the warband's captain. So again, similar to what we saw for the White Council, this is a really cool list. I really like these Forge World ring wraiths. I do quite fancy putting this force together because it looks really fun. So his spirit has lost none of his potency. Again, we saw that rule earlier. It's recreated here. So again, he essentially adds an extra will for free to the casting roll. Power of the Necromancer. Friendly models are resistant to magic. And additionally, the Necromancer can cast 2 magical powers each turn rather than 1. But he can't cast the same power twice or target the same enemy model twice. So very similar to what Saruman got earlier. The Dark Lord returns. The Necromancer of Dol Guldor increases attacks to 2 when he's part of the Legendary Legion. So yeah, quite a nice force. Again, I quite like this. I really like a lot of the Legendary Legions to give you a nice little kind of narrative force that fits what you'd expect them to be. I think that's a really cool addition that they added in the new edition of the game. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of these as we see some other supplements, because I believe we've got another supplement later this year as well. So the last part of the book actually has quite a lot of hobby material in here, some painting guides. There's a really nice Necromancer that I've painted up for the artwork in here, and we get a full guide on how to do that, which is really cool. Quite a detailed guide as well. We saw in the Rohan book, obviously, detailed guides to painting the Rohan houses and the like, and that continues here, which is really nice to see. We also get a painting guide for the ruins. Obviously, we'll look at the sprues for this in a little part, but looking at it, glancing at the box before we've gone into it in great detail, I think this is going to be quite modular, and you might be able to make some quite complex ruins and fill a whole board with this kind of stuff. So having a nice, easy, quick way to paint this up and get it ready for the battlefield is a massive advantage. And yeah, that looks really, really cool, doesn't it? I'm looking forward to building this and getting some paint on it. I think similar to the Rohan houses, you're probably going to be able to put together a few of these to make some different combinations of ruins, which is, yeah, really cool. And then, as ever, we get a bit of a model showcase showing all the miniatures, and yeah, they look absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, that is the Fall of the Necromancer expansion. It's really, really cool. I'm looking forward to playing through it. Like I say, I'm a big fan of the narrative stuff. That's more my scene than competitive match play. I'd rather recreate the events of the book, and this lets you do exactly that. But that's not all that we've got today. We have got some miniatures to look at too. So let's crack these open and see what the new miniatures look like. So first of all, let's have a look at the Ruins of Dol Guldor scenery. Now, any regular viewers will know that I love a bit of scenery. I was a massive fan of the Rohan stuff that they put together back when that book came out. Absolutely amazing kit, that's super modular, you can do all sorts with. Equally love the Lake Town stuff as well. I think they've done some amazing stuff with Middle-earth scenery. And yeah, this is the newest edition, the Ruins of Dol Guldor. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it looks quite kind of monopose, that it'd go together in like a specific way. But since looking through the book, it seems that it is actually very, very modular. And I imagine it's probably going to be a similar situation to the Rohan house, where all these bits are going to be kind of modular and can go together in any way. So you can have bigger, smaller structures. I assume this is another Ray Dramfield special, so if you keep an eye on his Twitter, he very often shares some interesting ways that the kits can go together. Really looking forward to building this and seeing how it looks. So let's pop this open and we'll have a look at the sprues. So first of all, we've got the instruction manual. Let's have a quick look at this. So it seems that my suspicion was right. All these flat panels are different pieces with then kind of supporting beams that can then be used to for other kind of pillars and posts and stuff to come off, various doorways that can go on it. And the floor itself looks to be in multiple smaller pieces, so you could have quite a few different layouts. Yeah, looking at the stairs as well. I think with multiple of these kits you could put together a really kind of big dungeon, which is really nice. Some various angled pieces so they can fit over the stuff. Now obviously in here they've kind of built the suggested layout to cover what is depicted on the artwork. But I'm fairly certain, looking at that, and obviously we'll have a quick look at the sprues now, that these are going to go together in quite a lot of different ways. So we've got like universal connectors on the sides of these, so they're not going to have to fit together, you know, just like shown on the box. You'll be able to do quite a lot with these, which is really fun. You've got kind of all vines and roots and bits of trees and pillars and stuff as well. You know, not just for Lord of the Rings. I think this is going to be a nice kit to use for other systems and games. Yeah, really exciting that. We then get another two sprues that are the same. So this looks like the kind of the walls and flooring bit, where this is more kind of like the doors and detailing. And again on this one, same deal. They're all separate pieces. So yeah, I think we're going to be able to see some quite creative stuff with these. It could be that, you know, nearer Christmas maybe, we see a big box with a few sets of these together. That is something they've done with the other Middle-earth sets. So for example, the Rohan houses, we got a big set with loads and loads and loads of sprues at a discount to let you build your big kind of Rohan village. Same with Lake Town, you can still get the 3 kind of scenery kit box. But yeah, there's certainly a load in here. I'll probably be building this one as per the box art, because we'll just build it that way first. But if it is very modular like it seems, I'll probably pick up another couple of these sets to build quite a few different, a few smaller ruins, maybe a big structure, to give you a nice bit of varied terrain so you can have, like on a plain surface, a nice environment to recreate the actual fall of the Necromancer from the book. So yeah, really impressed with that. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes together. The other new kit that we've got alongside this release is of course the Witch King of Angmar with his first plastic model. I say plastic, technically the Fell Beast can have the Witch King on it, can't it? But yeah, this is the first kind of on foot and mounted Witch King. The classic metal one is a really good model, but Games Workshop have taken the opportunity to use the kind of sprue budget for Middle-earth to put out some hero models, which I think is a really good choice. With the plastic technology now, you can put out some stunning stuff that's, miles ahead of where they were back when they released these original miniatures. You'll see as well in the box, there's quite a few different variations you can do as well. So you can have him with his kind of crown and flail, or you can have him more in his Black Rider guise, just with a sword and his kind of cloak on there. I think for this, I'm probably going to build him as per the box art. Go with the proper Pelennor Field style look for him. If anything, just to make it easier to kind of spot him out compared to the other Nazgul on the battlefield. So let's open this up and see what the sprues look like. So, looks like we get a single frame. So obviously we've got his steed on there. You have got a kind of on foot variation as well, as we've seen with all the Middle-earth models, which is really nice to see. And again, obviously we've got a few variations. You can build him with or without his crown on. So yeah, really, really nice. I think they've done some great things with these character models for Middle-earth, and I hope that we see some more. They've tended to release one for every kind of book release, which is nice to see. So yeah, definitely nice kit, and I can't wait to get this built and painted. Obviously get bases, and I'll have a quick look at the instruction manual as well, showing both variations of the model that you can do. I do really like the kind of classic Black Rider looking one. It's going to be a hard choice which variation to build of this, but I think I am going to go for him in his Pelennor Fields guise with his mace and his crown on. Again, not too complex to put together, not too many parts on there. The mounted version's potentially got a few more parts, but again, not too difficult. So yeah, really, really nice little kit. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that put together. So that was the Fall of the Necromancer and the plastic miniatures getting released alongside it. So really awesome release. Good to see Lord of the Rings getting a lot of love from Games Workshop here. So like we say, this is up for pre-order today. It is out next Saturday. Again, massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending these a little bit early to have a look at. We have also got a full post over on the website where we'll have photos of all the sprues. Andy's written an article where we go into detail covering all the scenarios and the various armies and legendary legions and all that kind of stuff. That'll be over on spruesandbrews.com, and hopefully in the near future we'll get some live streams. We'll get a battle on hopefully on stream at some point in the near future, where we can maybe play through some of these scenarios live with you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Hope to see you all soon, and yeah, stay tuned for more content and reviews. We have got a podcast that goes out every week on Wednesday as well. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll see you soon.